Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Put.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio.
Welcome to First Contact Radio.
To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
It's time
arrived.
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back from the weekend. Hope you had a good time. Today's the 3rd of February. Our sun sign is Aquarius. Our moon sign is Aries. It means our sun sign is an air sign, Aquarius, and our moon sign is a fire sign. So we have air and fire. Think about how air and fire work. Air can blow out the fire. Fire can snuff out the wind if there's too much of it. Or they can work real nicely together, and that's the idea. Remember, words and actions is the idea that comes from air. Idea comes from fire. So there's a lot of fire and ideas and creativity underneath the surface of the unconscious mind wanting to bubble to the surface. We have a couple of squares going on here between Aries. We have a square versus Aries and Jupiter with an expansion of energy. We have Pluto and Aries, which is deep transformative change. And then we have Venus, which is about love and imagination. So as we get into this evening, we have some real challenges that this Aries pioneering mind is going to go through. Remember, the Aries is the one who charges out there. He who sets in order. So there's a lot of things to set in order later. So as it gets to the evening time, just be aware. Alright? Moving on from there. Let's go over to look at our planets tonight. It says tonight, Monday the February 3rd, the crescent moon this evening shines to the left of the great square of Pegasus. The great square is tipped up onto one corner, as it always is at this time of year. So as you're looking out in the sky tonight, that's what you want to look for and what you will see. Okay, it shines to the left of the great square of Pegasus as you're looking at the sky. Moon phase is 19% of the way full, making its way up to the full moon. The Mayan Oracle, today we're at a 5-tone day, which is the overtone. The kin for today is the warrior, so it's the overtone warrior guided by the seed. Warrior asks questions. The idea is not to fight, but to use the mind so as to keep from fighting. Phrase for today, which summarizes all of this, is I empower in order to question, commanding fearlessness. I seal the output of intelligence. With the overtone, tone of radiance, I am guided by the power of flowering. Today would be a 10 mulak if you follow simply the long count and the zolpan or the ha, 7 pox. Today we could see it's a galactic activation portal day as we are columns over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and rows up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why. And there we are. Okay. So 5 over, 5 up, and look, it happens to be a 5. Lots of synchronicity going on today. Spaceweather.com, solar wind currently at 356.3 kilometers per second. Planetary KNX at the moment is quiet between 1 and a 2. You have a coronal hole starting to make its way in the direction facing Earth, but it's not here at this moment. M-class flare possibilities to 8, 80, X-class 50, so we're going to have some activity going on somewhere. Geomagnetic storm activity is up. You can see this has jumped up here from 15 to now it's pretty good, solid at 25. And our numerology for today is a 3. Okay, the way we get to numerology, remember we're going to add up all the numbers. So we have February is a 2, day for today is a 3, so 2 plus 3 is 5. And then we're going to go for the year, 2014. So 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4, that equals a 7. So this year, we know that 2014 equals a 7. Okay? So we're going to take that 7 and we're going to add it to the day and the date. The second month, 2, and the third day, 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. We're going to add that 5 to the 7, and that gives us a number today for 12. 12. So we're going to look at first the number 12, which is the hangman in the tarot, because I always like to relate things to if those numbers fall within the realm of the 22 Hebrew letters that are assigned to the tree of life. If it fits within that, then I like to look at that. So 12 is the hangman, says it's about a new perspective, looking at life in a different way. So that's one of the challenges today, look at things from a new perspective. And then the 12, the 1 and the 2, we add those together equals a 3. This is our numerology for today. 3 is the number of imagination, expression, communications, and artists. They are tolerant, joyful, optimistic. But the negative aspects, it says, for as inspirational as 3s are, there's a price they often pay in vain, extravagant, prone to complaining, and tolerance. So basically, we've got the number 3. 3 is the number. Got the 1 splits in half. Now the 1 has to balance itself off, and now that it's balanced itself off, it's creating again from the division that it made. And so now this is where the 3 is, because it's the pure creativity. That 1 had to split and then create something of itself, not just splitting, but with the other part of itself. The Empress is the tarot card associated with 3, and Venus is the planet associated with it. Alright, so as we go into the world, that's what we're looking at today. We got Aries, which is our moon sign, so it's pioneering efforts, creativity, fire. We have a number 3 numerology, which is about using our imagination. And we see that we're going to have some sort of challenges as we get to the evening, some lessons to learn along the ideas of how our imagination is used and our ideas, putting them in order with perhaps all of the different things we want to do in life. Alright, there you have it. That gets us started. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alright, Dirk. Thank you very much. First story today comes to us over Okinawa, Japan. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this picture, or perhaps 2 if these are all connected to each other. Maybe not the way that they just spread out right there. Around 9 p.m. the 23rd, orange light of about 10 UFOs have been floating around in Nala sky. Sightings of multiple UFOs were read about in our local newspaper. Experts said the object is not considered to be an astronomical phenomenon. According to the witness, a ball of light appeared in the sky near Naha Port and Naha Tando town. Repeatedly moving up and down, left and right, about 15 minutes later, it was gone. The light was visible from the ground when the blaze down meteorite in-laws entered the atmosphere, and was confirmed by the video, in which case Miyagi Takeshi, director of Ishigi Island Observatory. Time to fly with great speed, the story has added. I think the light stayed in about the same place for as long. Okay. So, according to the air defense, there was no witness information or reports on the mysterious light. There we go. Showed these last week. This is just a little bit more in-depth analysis that has come about since the sighting was first made. Alright, what do you think those are? Big lights in the sky. Okay, let's move on from there to the next story. This takes us above Fort Mill, South Carolina, on the 30th. This is a bright UFO recorded daytime above Fort Mill, South Carolina. Okay. It's a 54-second minute, 54-second video. I'm not seeing exactly where this is. Again, there it is right there. With all of these, when you expand the screen, they certainly makes it much easier to see. This one's right between the houses there. See it? It's kind of glowing. Light shimmering off right at certain points. Okay, very good. Next, we're going to jump over to Santa Rosa, California. New picture of a cigar-shaped UFO in the sky above Santa Rosa, the county seat of Sonoma County, California. This was taken on the 31st. Picture says, "Help me out. I am uploading a picture I found in my camera. I didn't see or hear anything until I downloaded my photos from the moon shots I took on the 31st. There's the shot of the moon, and here's the shot of the UFO. Pretty cool. Alright, moving on. Now we have our cube up by the sun. This is the sun here, and this is the cube. We see this, and we see it has that interesting shape. Okay. Checking out the Soho photos of the sun, the cube made another appearance. It was in the EIT-171 camera. Soho has about 50 cameras that record the sun, and most have different filters to view different things. If my hunch is right, and every heavenly body in our solar system is alien life, then it only makes sense for them to find ways not to just use the sun's energy, but to live within it. Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. Good shots. Again, these are shots that are available for anybody to capture. All you have to do is just take the time to sit and watch. Now we have a crop circle. First crop circle, it says, of 2014 has been discovered in Holland. The first ever crop formation in January in the northern hemisphere is in frozen grasses has been reported by Dutch medium Robert van Broek on January 29, 2014. As in the past, Robert became aware of the uneasy feeling he always receives when crop circles are close by, and he always had a few other crop formations have appeared in a general area in winter. This was the first time he felt the crop circle creators around him in January, and the first discovery of winter formation immediately, not in snow, but in frozen, foot-high grasses. Okay. So this is what we're looking at here. It's a little bit tougher to see, but see it right there. Okay. This time, the 3-inch circle thought bubble formation appears in a location 20-30 minutes away from Robert's apartment near his friend Roy's home. Because the farmer has not decided whether or not he will allow the public entry, the precise location cannot be revealed. Because Robert saw the village in which the formation had appeared and knew it was too far for him to reach the middle of the night on his motorbike, he called Roy, who came to pick him up, and the two men drove back towards Roy's home. As they got closer, Roy suddenly saw in his mind's eye a street sign and the name of the street. And as the men drove along the street, they eventually found the only field that was not plowed under and stopped the car. Although they could see no circles from the road, Robert walked into the field and was drawn to the place where the formation was located. After returning home, Robert became aware of the specific alien presence, very similar to Yahel, whose presence he had felt previously in the apartment the night Michael Jackson's spirit and an ETIL appeared. Robert further stated that the aliens are very like humans in physical appearance, but are both technically and spiritually massively advanced compared to humans. But that it is they who will first make contact with the people of Earth, both because their physical appearance is less likely to frighten people, but also because they are enlightened beings whose only reason for contacting humans is to assist in our growth and development. Robert also says the Yahiel will bring presence which will be of great service to mankind once human consciousness has enough growth to allow and welcome their presence. And we got more pictures of the crop circles here. Alright, this comes to us from Nancy Talbot, BLT Research Team. Alright, and next, this goes back to 1981. See, incredible UFO sighting is rather amazing. While the story is very different from my sighting, it had the same effect. It moves a person from believing or not believing in UFOs to knowing without any doubt that UFOs are real. Richard. One late evening in the early summer of 1981, lying sleepless in my student bedsit at the top of the house in the Fallow Field district of Manchester, I became aware of a pattern of bright flashing lights on the wall. All I could see was that through the curtainless window on the opposite side of the room was a strip of rather cloudy night sky. The vivid flashing was coming from within, or perhaps behind, a bank of clouds. As I continued to watch an object materialize from within the cloud, advancing until it stood in plain view in the night sky. It was a strikingly large craft of some kind, flattish but with roundish edges, like an old-fashioned bed warmer, or perhaps a huge English muffin. It was sparkling silver and covered all over with regular patterns of flashing white lights. After hovering for a few seconds, it began to move across the sky, and as it reached the right-hand frame of my window, I leant over the side of my bed to keep viewing it. At a certain point, it ceased its progress, and at the same sedate pace retraced its route back to its starting point. There it lingered for a few more seconds, before retreating into the cloud bank until its evanescent flashing had eventually dissolved from view. Only then did I collapse out of my bed and started frantically pulling on my clothes. I rushed on foot to my girlfriend's place to gibber out an account of the incident. Convention demands the following declaration. I had not been drinking or taking drugs. I hadn't dozed off and reawoken, and I wasn't in a general state of agitation. It was a perfectly normal evening. I had gone to bed and was waiting to fall asleep. Nothing remotely similar had ever happened to me before. If everybody is entitled to at least one experience of paranormal unexplained, this was mine. For the 3 to 4 minutes the whole episode lasted, it filled me with a mixture of trepidation and thrill, with an intimidation that there might, after all, be another reality beyond the everyday one. Classic missing scene for a UFO sighting was a remote, deserted location, country roads or woodland at night, or outside a ranch in New Mexico. A large spaceship hovering above Manchester should have been seen by tens of thousands. It wasn't much after midnight, so there would still have been plenty of traffic in the streets. I followed the local news and talked to everybody I knew about it, but apparently only I had seen it from my bedsit room in Fallowfield. Years later, when the archive of reported sightings processed by the now defunct UFO desk at the Ministry of Defense went offline, I searched through the list for 1981. There was nothing that resembled my sighting, and nothing at all in the whole of the UK for the month in question or the months before after it. The spectacular fulfilled its purpose in showing up devotion, transporting the soul, training the inner vision, and higher things. There are UFOs, and there never were. That at least is the official story, and it commands acceptance. There was something reassuring in the notion that the Ministry of Defense took them seriously enough to monitor reports, and perhaps even trace of disappointment that virtually none of those alleged sightings was left unexplained when the desk closed in 2009. They were all night-flying aircraft, weather balloons, comets, car headlights, seen at unusual angles through trees and mists, often by people who have been drinking or were half asleep, or of whom it could be said in the judicial discourse that the balance of their minds was disturbed. Some of the most famous photographs of the Frisbees, whatever I saw in Manchester, was there in front of me. There remains no doubt in my mind that even after 32 years, but I have never worked out what it was. Alright, you can see there's a lot more to the article. I'm going to leave that to you to discover on your own. And I'm going to jump over to this next story here. It talks about Area 51. It says there can be few people, if any, with interest in UFOs who have not heard of the tales of the so-called alien bodies in the morgue at Area 51. Hangar 18, Homestead Air Force Base, the Dugway Proving Grounds, and many more highly secret fortified installations have all suggested as the final resting places for the preserved corpses of extraterrestrial entities. What of the so-called cryptids, such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the abominable snowman, the chupacabras, and other mysterious or unacknowledged creatures? Although they are far less known than those involving their alleged alien counterparts, there is a number of cases on file that suggest it's just not the bodies of beings from beyond our solar system that are being held deep below the ground in well-guarded bunker-style facilities. Welcome to the controversial saga of the morgue of monsters. In my 2013 book, Monster Files, I was told the story of the claims that following the devastating eruption of Mount St. Helens on May 18, 1980, a number of Bigfoot bodies were found in the area and secretly flown out to destinations unknown. Certainly there were major casualty figures. 57 people lost their lives, as did thousands of animals. Maybe some of those animals were definitely monstrous kind. Granted, the stories of clandestine retrievals of Bigfoot bodies from Mount St. Helens by the military have come from anomalous sources and friend of a friend informants. Just maybe, however, there was a lot of smoke. There was also a bit of fire. If the stories are true, then clearly the corpses of the immense animals would have been transported to fairly close by military bases for study and autopsy. Well, that is certainly my suggestion. We're still scratching our heads regarding exactly where these places might be. So the article's there. I'm going to leave it to you so you can check that out. But very interesting, and it's a good question indeed. What happens to the bodies? Where are they? This was an article Nick Redfern wrote. Check it out. The rest of it, see what you think. And one last piece dealing with the question that many of us understand already, that life, alien life, is already here on the planet Earth. Scientists says alien life may already be on Earth or in us. For the past 50 years, scientists have scoured the skies for radio signals from beyond our planet, hoping for some sign of extraterrestrial life. But one physicist says there's no reason alien life couldn't already be lurking among us, or maybe even in us. Paul Davies, an award-winning Arizona State University physicist, for his popular science writing, said Tuesday that life may have developed on Earth not once but several times. Davies said the variant life forms, most likely microbes, could still be hanging around right under our noses or even in our noses. How do we know all life on Earth descended from a single origin? He told the conference at London's prestigious Royal Society, which serves as Britain's Academy of Sciences. We've just scratched the surface of the microbial world. The idea that alien microorganisms could be hiding out here on Earth has been discussed for a while, according to Jim Tarter, director of the U.S. SETI project, which listens for signals from civilizations based around distant stars. She said several of the scientists involved in the project were interested in pursuing the notion, which Davies earlier laid out in 2007, published in a Scientific American, in which he asked, "Are aliens among us?" So far there's no answer, and even finding one would be fraught with difficulties, as Davy himself acknowledged. Unusual organisms abound, including chemical-eating bacteria which hide out deep in the ocean, and organisms that thrive in boiling hot springs. But that doesn't mean they're different life forms entirely. How weird do they have to be to suggest a second genesis as opposed to just an obscure branch of the family tree, he said. David suggested that the only way to prove an organism wasn't life as we know it was if it were built using exotic elements which no other form of life had. The organisms have yet to be found. Davies also noted that less than 1% of the world's bacteria has been completely comprehensively studied, leaving plenty of time to find unusual organisms. You cannot just tell by looking that a microbe has some really different inner chemistry, he said. Davies called for alien hunting scientists to look in their own backyards. Came as one of the pioneers of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, told the conference the job of finding proof of alien life in outer space may be more difficult than previously thought. Frank Drake, who conducted the first organized search for alien radio signals in 1960, said that the Earth, which used to pump out a loud mess of radio waves, television signals, and other radiation, has been steadily getting quieter as its communication technology improves. Drake cited the switch from the analog to digital television, which uses a far weaker signal, and the fact that has much more communications traffic is now relayed by satellites and fiber optic cables, limiting its leakage into outer space. Very soon it will become very undetectable, he said. If similar processes were taking place in other technologically advanced societies, then the search for them will be much more difficult than we imagine. But Drake said scientists at SETI were excited at the possibility of using lasers to send super bright flashes of light into space for a tiny fraction of a second. The flashes could theoretically be seen by an advanced civilization up to 1,000 light years away, said Tarter. And Tartar said infrared versions of the devices could possibly send beams even further. But Drake noted that the interstellar equivalent to turning the flashlight on and off only works if the prospective alien civilization wants to get in touch to begin with. For this to work, there has to be altruism in the universe, he says. That is the UFO news for today. I'll be back with some more stories. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Let's continue on here. So we had the Super Bowl this weekend. Did you watch the game? Pretty interesting. Certainly probably heard the stories about all the security that took place at the game. It's very interesting what's happening in the world. Definitely is, because we have so much security being put into place, and it seems as if people are being conditioned to accept what is going on really without question. We have these artists that are being portrayed and put before the public that are not necessarily the best role models, and yet they're being rolled out, and it's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy the world we live in, but it's up to us just to keep paying attention. Just because there's nonsense coming out of television box in your homes and from the politicians doesn't mean we have to buy into it. The objective is we need to keep finding solutions in the problems, okay? And just look at each situation that comes at us as another opportunity to create a solution for what's going on. Sometimes the solution is just going inside of ourselves and to be able to really connect deeper with ourselves so we can understand more of what's going on into the world. I know we all want to have the tendency to jump out and look at the outside world to go find the solution, but sometimes that solution comes from going inside. Imagine if all of us took the time out to really go in and clean up the mess that was inside, how that would reflect in the outside worlds around us. We might not be caught up in some of these challenges we are. Now, humans sometimes do things that seem to contradict what it is they're trying to accomplish. I don't understand why. Here's a story that kind of doesn't make sense. Congress seeks to jack up fees on home heating oil in the midst of a frigid winter. Congress's mammoth farm bill restores the imposition of an extra fee on home heating oil, hitting consumers in cold weather states just as utility costs are spiking. The fee, 0.2 cents on every gallon sold, was tacked on to the end of the 959-page bill, which is winding its way through Capitol Hill. The fee would last for nearly 20 years and would siphon the money to develop equipment that is cheaper, more efficient, and safer to encourage consumers to update their equipment. And just one of the dozens of provisions tucked into the Farm Bill, which cleared the House in a bipartisan 251 to 166 vote last week and faces a key filibuster test in the Senate on Monday, it is expected to survive its final passage before heading to President Obama's desk. Taxpayer groups say the bill could increase spending over the previous version, and it's crammed with favors for individual lawmakers, such as rules legalizing industrial hemp. The heating oil fee was backed by northern lawmakers who said it would fund the important research to benefit consumers. The National Oil Reheat Alliance, otherwise known as NORA, has long benefited from low and middle class families and small businesses throughout the Northeast, East, and other cold weather states. Representative Leonard Lance, New Jersey Republican, said in a statement the program improves energy efficiency and lower heating bills at no cost to the U.S. taxpayer. So I wanted to bring this up just to kind of show you the changes that are in the midst. So if you notice some changes, maybe don't freak out right away. Look, we're always trying to improve things down here on planet Earth, right? Trying to make things better. Sometimes in the process of making things better, sometimes things get messed up or screwed up. We just have to kind of always look and see what are our intentions with the things that we're trying to do down here. And perhaps, maybe if we consider a bit more of what our intentions are, why we're wanting to do the things we do, maybe we can understand and come up with some better solutions. Because it seems like that's what's going on, right? When you talk to people, there's a lot of people in the world concerned about what's going on. Every day I talk to people who are really dealing with lots of challenges, very concerned. And we can either look at all of the negative or we can kind of find a way to turn towards the positive. I think if we turn towards the positive, we'll find that the negative just kind of has less importance. And then if you take some time and you look back over the negative, the stories, you find out that just by turning away from it sometimes makes things more peaceful. Because sometimes the negative stories are just those negative stories. We can't be worried about all of the bad things that may happen. We can only be concerned with the good things that we can put out into the world. That's really it. And if we take care of our business and we put out good, and the next person puts out good and keeps going on, we'll be all right. According to scientists, this is the most relaxing tune ever recorded. This 8-minute song is a beautiful combination of arranged melodies, rhythms, bass lines, and thus helps to slow the heart rate, reduce blood pressure, and lower levels of stress. The song features guitar, piano, and electronic samples of natural soundscape. A study was conducted on 40 women who were connected to sensors and had been given challenging puzzles to complete a clock in order to reduce the level of stress. Different songs were played to test their heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, and brain activity. The results showed that the song Weightless was 11% more relaxing than any other song, and even caused drowsiness among the women in the lab. It induced 65% reduction in overall anxiety and brought them to a level 35% lower than the usual resting rates. Moreover, sound therapies have been used for thousands of years to help people relax and improve health and well-being. Among indigenous cultures, music has been the heart of healing and worship. The song Weightless is ideal for unwinding and putting an end to a stressful day. According to Dr. Lewis Hogden from Mind Lab International, which conducted the research, the song induced the greatest relaxation, higher than any music tested to date. In accordance with the brain imaging studies, music works at a very deep level within the brain, stimulating not only the higher regions responsible for producing sound, but also associated with emotions. I'm going to leave the link here so you can go ahead and play this music. I'm not going to go ahead and play it. It's 8 minutes in length, and once you get started, I don't want to turn it off after a few seconds. But check out the link. All right, we hear about the idea of the fifth dimensional world, the multi-dimensional realities, that we're in the third dimension, that there's a fourth dimension, and then there's a fifth dimension that we're moving into. We've heard these stories over and over. Well, this article speaks to that. It says, moving into 5D, hidden in plain sight. Greg Prescott writes this. Imagine moving into your new light body while the ruling elite watch you ascend. Many times Hollywood hides messages in plain sight. In this particular case, most people will see as fantasy or science fiction, but there is a great truth hidden within the storyline. In an episode called Transfigurations, the following Star Trek clip shows a race of beings on the verge of transcending their current form into light bodies, but the ruling elite were desperately trying to keep them under subservience, control, and conformity. You could learn from these people, Sunad. They do not fear me, Sunad. They do not know how dangerous are you and others like you. John, that is what you and other leaders have maintained for generations, but this is not the case. Captain, my species is on the verge of a wondrous evolutionary change, a transmutation beyond our physical being. I am the first in my kind to approach this metamorphosis. They tried to convince us that it was a sickness we would never survive, and the pain and the energy pulses would kill us. They claimed we were dangerous, so they destroyed anyone who exhibited the signs of transfiguration. We were protecting our society. John says, by murdering us, you saw the mutations as a threat to your authority. You were terrified of something you couldn't understand. Some suspected what was happening to them was not evil. 4 of us decided to flee Zaklan and let the metamorphosis take our course. There's nothing to fear. You can join me, also Canadians can. Let me show you. John reaches out a hand to Sanan, who recoils. Sanan says, don't touch me, as you wish, but others will listen. Now that you can no longer prevent me from telling you the truth, those who are willing will follow me. So look around you. The ruling elite are poisoning our water, air, and food supplies. The fluoridation of our water has led to the calcification of the pineal glands, which in our past history were much larger than they are now. As many of you know, the pineal gland is called your third eye and is the window to your soul and your true divine reason for being here. Imagine being able to tap into your true potential. Perhaps this is what the ruling elite fear most, as they certainly do not want people thinking for themselves or thinking outside the box because, well, that would limit our need for government. You are truly more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Believe in yourself, have faith in humanity, and the rest will fall into place. Alright, so that's good info, and life is changing, and that's what we need to keep our focus and attention towards. Because if you think about what's going on in the world, we've got two different things. We've got a planet full of beings, spiritual beings, having a human experience, who are trying to tap in and understand the experience they're having, and are trying to make connections to the spiritual realm, even stronger than what they are. So you also have the ruling elite, and we know what's going on around the world. We can see what they're doing. They're trying to stop what's going on because they don't have their mind in that spiritual place. So that is the battle between those who are spiritual minded and those who are not, those who believe in God and those who do not. And the battle has been going on for quite some time. Our job is just to stay strong in that faith, to keep believing in ourselves and understanding more about ourselves, and not getting caught up in all of those who are trying to slow us down or stop us, because that is all that they're trying to do for whatever reasons. Selfishness, fear, doesn't matter. So we just need to keep the faith, keep strong, look at situations in life, and try not to get emotionally caught up in them, so that we can find better solutions to the things that we want to do. Alright? Alright. Let's move on to our message for today. This is from the angelic realms. Here we go.
The Angelic Realms.
January 31st, 2014, by Robert Measure.
The human collective's energyscape flows through you. There is grid connecting all life, and as such there is a piezoelectric nature of unity. As you bring in light and love, the entire human collective benefits from it. And vice versa, when the human collective is in much fear and pain, you will contract it, and it is your job to transmute it, so humanity can go through a smooth transition. Remember, you are a beautiful being of limitless light, and you are loved and watched over by the angels. As you integrate higher levels of light, there is more density, ego, and fear that needs to be transcended and dissolved. You are the conduits, that's why your job at times seems so hard. You have to go through terror, and what appears to be torture. Remember, everything will be fine, and it is set in stone. There are times of great despair, anxiety, and horror on your path, great ones, but it is for a great and noble cause. The upliftment of the entire human collective is in your hands, and you, the divine light workers of Mother Gaia, are doing an amazing job. We thank you, with all our hearts, and you are blessed, beautiful, gracious, courageous beings of the divine. Dear ones, beyond the planetary grids of the human collective and earthly biosphere, there are solar sphere grids, galactic grids, and omnidimensional grid systems and matrices. They all stem from the galactic core, and the stellar currents of energy coordination. You are capable of connecting to each and every one of these grids, and we applaud you to do so. You are the center channel, the core of the universe, as are all those around you. There will be no spiritual rapture, it is the journey to the heart and the re-evaluation of spirit. The morphogenic blueprint of your bioelectrical format is adjusting to the higher vibratory cognition of the new wave power format. Biomagnetism is rendering the DNA-RNA matrix, transducing the coded nucleic membranes into larger quantifiable membranes of creator light. As the plasma of accelerated light condenses in your biological mainframe, you may experience melting sensations, overheating, and vibrational patterns. The energetic pulses of your higher self is elevating the grid, and by each and every fluctuation and amplification we grow closer in communication. Each transmission of knowledge contains codes of light, and you, the star seed, light worker collective, are the anchor, receptor, and transmuter of light. Be in love and bring harmony and unity unto the planetary systems of the Milky Way, and all the dimensional fields that you are interacting with. Love is the cohesive fusion matrix, the bridging mechanism, and the creative essence.
Alright, see? Love. Love is the important element, folks. Okay. Here's our affirmation for today. I love and trust my creative gifts. I love and trust my creative gifts. Very simple one. So go ahead and let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Think to the words of this affirmation: I love and trust my creative gifts. I love and trust my creative gifts. Allow that phrase just to circulate through your mind over and over and over. I love and trust my creative gifts. And really take a moment to consider the gifts that you do have available to you. The gift to think, to use your imagination, the gift to be able to bring into life that which you wish to manifest. And when you think about all that life has to offer, and you think of all of the positive gifts that life has to offer, you realize that the purpose of life is to evolve, to grow continuously. And that all those efforts to stop life from growing are those efforts that are not in synchronicity with the plan of life itself, but seem to be moving in opposite ways. So we recognize those things that allow us to grow and those things that try to stop us. And we move away from those things that are trying to stop us, so that we are in synchronicity with that which is allowing us to grow. And as we grow, we continue to glow brighter and brighter. For in the growth, we find that our true destiny, our true path, and awareness of who we are is revealed. And we understand that our purpose is to grow, to love, to share this love with others. And if one by one we love, and we send out light, and we grow in love and light, imagine the change this planet will undergo as one being after another grows strong in love and light, and fear and darkness dissipates. So let us imagine living in a world filled with much love and much light, where people are interacting together fearlessly, where people around the world are communicating and connecting, where peace sweeps across the land. Let's just imagine in our mind's eye peacefulness across the entire earth as we live in harmony. Let's think love, the word love, L-O-V-E, and let's just imagine this word love surrounding the planet and filling the planet with its essence. Let's imagine the color green of the heart chakra filling the world with love. And let's just see the world overflowing with this love energy and spilling this love out into the cosmos to all the other beings that are around. Let's imagine our subconscious mind going out into the world, just continuing on this message of love, sending out love. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the way we're going to start off this week. Thank you very much for being here. Just lead with love for the week, my friends. Just see what happens. Just allow that feeling, that idea to grow in your lives. And just share it with others. If we keep doing this, we'll make the world exactly what we want it to be. We'll get rid of all the darkness, all the evil. And we'll do it all through the simple process of just love. That's it. Love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Peace. I'm out of here.